In this particular project, we're laminating two thick pieces of stone together for the upper bar. In order to get a nice tight lamination, we have to smooth the back surface. Here we're using a summit wheel on a radial arm polisher to smooth both surfaces. We're now ready for our lamination. We laid both of our pieces down flat, upside down. We're going to use epoxy. We want to thoroughly measure our epoxy, making sure we're using the right proportions. Now this step is very important. You need to make sure you mix the epoxy thoroughly. If you don't do this, you'll get a lot of hot spots or spots that won't set up in the epoxy. So mix it for a good minute, possibly 2 minutes or more. Next, we're going to spread our epoxy across the piece, making sure we spread it evenly, or as evenly as we possibly can. Once it's spread out, take your second lamination piece, gently flip it over the top, and then what I like to do is move it back and forth, and this makes sure that the epoxy is spread evenly across both surfaces. Next, we're going to clamp it nice and tight, and again we want to make sure this is even, so we're going to take our clamps and space them about a foot or even closer, and this will give us a nice tight lamination, and then we'll let this sit overnight to dry. Okay, we have an upper bar top that's going to get a very interesting edge, and that edge is called a chiseled edge. And what a chiseled edge is a very rough, rustic-looking type of an edge. So what we're going to do is we've placed this piece of angle iron here, which is going to serve as a guide for us. We've clamped it down. Now we have two pieces that come together at a seam, and that's why we've used these suction cups here in order to hold that seam together. We're using a tool known as a rock biter. It looks like a big pair of bolt cutters, but has two very, very sharp blades here, and you'll see in a minute how this works. We'll actually go in and chisel off that edge, and it'll give us a really nice rustic edge. So let's see how it's done. When using the chiseling tool, make sure you have two people. One to keep it nice and flat and steady and level, and just one great big sharp movement, and then overlap your bites, and you will be chiseling. Okay, now that we have a nice, beautiful chiseled edge, it's just a little bit too sharp, and we kind of want to mellow out the lines a little bit. And the way we do that is with a nylon grit wire brush. This happens to be a 36 grit, and you're going to see how it's done. So let's get started. When using the brush, just mild, light pressure. Keep your fingers away from the brush because it'll cut your fingers up, and just continue to work the machine back and forth until you've smoothed the edge.